My name's Ellen Duke and I'm a manager here at NRM Tasmania, also known as Cameron's Oysters. We farm a Pacific oyster which was introduced from Japan. Oysters are what's known as an intertidal animal. When we're farming oysters, we're trying to mimic that as closely as we can. Oysters are going to eat everything that's in the water. That's why water quality management is really important to us. Here at Cameron's, we use the Shellpoint Portal to access the data that is linked from the Oyster Sensor Network. So what we have here is one of the sensors that make up the sensor network for the Oyster Farmers of Tasmania. At the top you've got the solar panel which powers the whole sensor system. In the box there is housed everything that the sensors talk to, and it transmits the data back to the portal. And then if you look down the bottom near the float there in the white tube, that's where the sensors themselves are actually housed. As oyster farmers, we have to closely monitor the water. That's to ensure the safety and the quality of our product. The time that we harvest our oysters is quite critical. So these sensors allow us to monitor things like temperature and the tidal depth remotely, whereas in the past we would have had to come out here on the boats and do it manually. We monitor the temperature of our oysters for several reasons. One's got to do with a virus called POMS. That's the term we use for Pacific oyster mortality syndrome, and it causes a high level of mortality in our stock. That virus activates at a certain temperature range, so anything above 17 degrees. We might change what time we're going to handle them. We might try and avoid handling during the hottest part of the day. We're going to minimise time out of water, and we're going to get them into the cool chain as quickly as possible. We also monitor the temperature for food safety. Particularly in areas that have Vibrio, that can cause illness in people that eat the oysters. Normally you'd have up to 24 hours to get your stock into cool chain. If you're operating under a Vibrio control plan, that's drastically reduced, and it could be as little as 7 hours to get it into cool chain. So you can see here that we're logged into the portal, and in red you can see the different leases throughout the bay, and in green are the different sensors. Now we went to Boomer Bay Site 4, which is this sensor here. The dashboard brings up all the data that sensor has been feeding back to the portal, and how the sensors allow us to track the changes in the environment. The Oyster Sensor Network and the data portal, along with information we get from weather forecast sites, allows us to put together all that information and forecast what's going to be happening out on the leases, allowing us to make some really good management decisions.